This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. Good morning, sir. How are you doing, my friend? You doing all right?
I'm doing great. Oh, how are you?
Cannot complain. Just following Dolphin free agency. Is there any free agency we should know about with the Canes?
Well, where did Braxton Berrios end up? Has he landed a home yet? Or wasn't he supposed to be in free agency this year?
He is in free agency.
I think Denzel
we-
Perryman was another one, right?
Yeah, I don't know where Perriman's landed yet, or Barrios has not landed anywhere yet.
Yeah, there's not a lot of names. As back in the day, right, where we had like 40 Hurricanes playing in the NFL. The list has dwindled down quite a bit.
Calais Campbell is also a free agent.
There you go. Calais is this year. That's right. Calais is also, 39 years old almost? He's got to be hitting 40.
He's about 47.
Yeah.
52. I don't know, 68.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the days of having a long conversation about the Hurricanes in the NFL ended a while ago. Really, I mean, besides Jalen Phillips, Gregory Rousseau, and KJ Osborne, there's not a lot of guys that are, I think, making big notable, sort of contributions to their teams. I mean, I think those are the three best at the moment. I know Calais still starts, but I think the three best current Canes in the NFL are probably those guys. And then you have a couple kickers and punters, guys that have come through the program. But yeah, it's slim pickings, but that's what happens when you don't recruit at an elite level, man, and you don't develop guys.
Yep, I'm with you there. So, all right, do we have any news on the recruiting side? Because I know recently, like a week and a half ago, they lost their 20th player that went into the portal.
The transfer portal, yeah.
Yeah, so 20 have been out. And you kind of were talking about it, throughout towards the end of the year, like 15, 20 guys would be out. Well, yeah, 20 guys.
Yeah, they hit the magic number. They're just cleaning house. I think it could go up even more after spring football is over, because we do have that extra transfer portal window after spring football. So I would expect that there will be movement, and I expect that Miami's going to try to jump on some receivers, some defensive backs, some defensive tackles, if any of them become available that are any good. I mean, look, they could have added some of those guys already, but clearly they don't like what's out there. So they're hoping that something new pops into the portal and that they can take a look at that. But I think there will be guys who go through spring football and say, you know what, I better go somewhere else to play because I don't think I'm going to get much of an opportunity here. So I think that'll happen. But we're still a few weeks away. We got to get through the spring game on April 14th, and then when the window opens up, I believe it's May 1st is when the next transfer portal window opens. That's when we'll start to see some movement. It's a very dry time right now. Oh, I wish there was more I could I could give.
I know that's the one thing I feared about this segment. There really isn't a lot of football news. It's really all about, is Omier going to be healthy? Will he be ready for Friday or Friday? I think it
Friday
is,
night against Drake. Yeah,
Friday. So will he be right? Because by the way, they missed him against Duke. Those two long dudes.
Yeah,
that was the mismatch right there, dude.
Yeah,
they had no answer for their length, man. Unfortunately, Omier was needed badly.
Anthony Walker Jr. can only take you so far. He's a backup who really doesn't play much in that rotation, and so yeah, I mean, could they get past Drake in round one if Norchad Omier is not really 100%, which I don't expect him to be? I think they could. I think you're going to need Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller and some of those other guys to kind of play at their best. But I think Miami could advance at least to the round of 32 without their big man. I think anything beyond that, you gotta hope that it's not that bad. From what I've heard, he's walking around without a boot on it. It's basically a sprained ankle, just healing, and that's a good sign. If he was in crutches or in a boot, I think it'd be much worse. So I think right now, things are optimistic that he'll be available this weekend. I don't know if he'll play a whole lot in game one, but maybe game two he's back for that.
Let's show him Pat Mahomes' film of a high ankle sprain. Let's go, bitch. Let's go.
I don't think Pat Mahomes had to jump up for rebounds when he was playing quarterback. But hey,
you're still running around, bro.
Yeah, sure. Not nearly as much as Omier will be.
I saw him hop or jump a little when he would injure it.
Right.
and he was
That,
re-injured.
that was the pain. That was the pain. It's the shooting pain right up his leg. He had to. Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things that sucks for Miami because you have such a great season, right? And the way college basketball is nowadays, as we know, a lot of guys.
Parody, bro.
And
Parody.
there's a lot of parity, and I would say there's a lot of guys that go pro, right, and play overseas. So you don't have the depth of talent maybe that you used to in the sport because so many guys are sort of sidestepping college basketball. And Miami's really just not a very deep team, man. We knew one injury. That was my fear for this team. One injury, and the whole thing could short circuit quickly.
And that's a big injury because he's a dude. They don't have another one like Omer. He
Mm-mm.
just it's different for them. Yeah, it's a huge loss for them overall. Oh, by the way, what's the update on the facilities? Everything going on, the improvements and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you're talking about the football facility, I mean everything is, from what I've heard, is still on the right path. I mean they're raising the money to get it done. Again, I know some people have written $150 million. I think some people think it's closer to $300 million, double that, because of all the construction costs of moving things around on the building. And yes, you always end up going over budget when you do something like this. And let's not forget Coral Gables. That camp is such a packed, tight little area to begin with. It's already filled. You're not dealing with a bunch of empty land. I know you have the fields where the students play intramural sports and whatnot, but there's not a whole lot of area outside of that to work with. And this facility is going to look beautiful. I mean, the renderings are out there; they've been online. What it's going to look like, but we're still 4 or 5 years away from that being completed. So I think it'll get there eventually. I think everything is on path. I haven't seen any steps back with it, but I think as far as raising the money, they're in the process of doing that, in the process of preparing everything that they're going to do to get it done.
All right, so the coaching staff is done. It's finished, right? There's nothing else, right? They're not losing anybody, they're not adding anybody from what I understand.
Well,
The
not for
Phoenix
spring
is
football.
now?
Not for
Huh?
spring football. I think we're fine for spring football. I think there's not going to be any changes in the middle of spring football, but there could be moves this summer. Yes, I think absolutely so. I think there could be moves. I think Joe
Really?
Salavea. Yes, I think Joe Salavea, who's the defensive line coach, I think he's had his you know I don't want to say rights, but his authority sort of stripped away from him. Jason Taylor's kind of the guy now who is running that ship. So, I know he tried to go to the NFL. He interviewed with the Detroit Lions. If there's a chance that he could join another staff at the pro level, I think he probably does that, which means that there's somebody else to either promote on staff or to bring in from the outside. So I think that's a possibility of a move. I'm not saying it's 100% going to happen. I'm just saying it's a good possibility. We see some history with that. And I think the tight end coach position, Stephen Field's been there a long time. He's a really good recruiter. Stephen Field's been the one guy to sort of survive all these coaching changes. I think he came in with Mark Richt, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been around a hot minute. But they have some other coaches on staff. Coach Woodyall, who's like a grad assistant, who I've heard for a while could potentially get put into an assistant type role, where Stephen Field maybe goes back into the recruiting department. I think those are things that I've heard for several months now as potential possibilities. And then again, if somebody gets an opportunity to move up, the chessboard is always moving, right? Guys take NFL jobs, that opens a job somewhere in college, and it's just a ping pong of moves, domino effect. Those things could still happen. So I would say while I don't expect any changes this spring during spring football, I would say the summertime anything's possible.
Jakari is the backup.
It's an interesting debate because if you look at Shannon Dawson's offense, rather, at Houston and Clayton Tune and the way he plays the game, that offense is built to be run by a guy like a De'Aaron King. Okay, a guy who can move with his feet, make plays, run for 500-600 yards. And if you look at Miami's quarterback room, the only guy really capable of that is Jakari Brown. I know Tyler Van Dyke likes to pretend that he's super athletic and can make plays on the run and blah blah
I mean,
blah.
he can run a little bit. He's not a complete statue, but he's not really a
He's
runner.
he's not going to take off and go for 70 yards, right? I think Jakari Brown can obviously do that. We saw proof of that in the Georgia Tech game when he got the start there, and he made a bunch of plays with his legs that everybody was just sort of, wow, this kid's good. The problem with Jakari, of course, is his completion percentage and his throwing ability.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah,
Because I asked the question because the what you're running with your starting quarterback, your backup quarterback is completely different than your starting quarterback. So, are
right.
you going to change your offense and tweak it when Jakari starts? Or is there a third quarterback that could challenge Jakari because his skill set is more like the starter and he could do what the starter does?
Yeah,
Or
it's
is it that the two backups are like Jakari, that they're both athletic runners, so it doesn't really matter? So they're going to whoever they go to, it's going to change no matter. So talk to us about who's third and how is that battle working out? And does that third guy have a shot at jumping Jakari because he plays more like the starter?
Yeah, I think 100%. I think Emory Williams, the true freshman who came in and has been in camp and impressed. And a lot of people who've been out there and had a chance to watch Miami go through a practice and watch him throw think he's the better thrower than Jakari right now. And so I think from a strategic standpoint, if you're going to keep the offense the way it runs under Tyler Van Dyke, you probably go with Emory Williams as the backup. Now, that's not to say that Shannon Dawson couldn't adjust and say, you know what, Jakari Brown gives us the best chance to win. This is still a true freshman who was just in high school a year ago. He might not be ready to run what we want him to run. So I think until we get there, until we get to the season and really get to watch these guys, maybe get some garbage time and see how close Emory Williams really is to being able to run a college offense, we really won't have an answer. I would suspect that right now, if you were to ask Mario Cristobal who his backup quarterback is, he'd say Jakari Brown. He's been here. He's been in college for a year. His body is filled out. Emory Williams is still filling into his body. He's still got to put on a little bit more weight. I think Jakari is physically ready to play this position. And I think you could certainly have a package or a system for him to run in this offense that would be highly effective. It may not run the same way it would with Tyler Van Dyke, but I think he would bring elements in this, air raid spread offense that would be good for Miami in a lot of ways. Honestly, I mean, if you gave me the choice, and I love Tyler Van Dyke, if Jakari Brown could throw the football a little bit better, I would go with him as a quarterback in today's game because the ability to run just it makes your offense so much more dynamic. You look at every single one of those. I mean, look, I know Bryce Young and some of the top quarterbacks, the kid from Ohio State, they didn't run the football a whole lot, but when they needed to, they could escape the pocket. They could make plays with their legs. And I think Jakari gives you an even bigger element of that where he could go 70, 80 yards and score. And I mean, he's one of the fastest guys on the team. He's literally, I think, the second fastest guy on the team based on their biometrics that when they do the running. I think he ran over 22 miles an hour. So I think he's the kind of talent that you don't just sit there and dismiss and say, well, this guy throws the football better than him. You can't use Jakari Brown. I think there's a lot of things you could do with Jakari Brown that would win you a lot of football games in college football today.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Subscribe to The Athletic and support him there. Manny, as always, my man, appreciate you. We'll catch up on Friday here on our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.
All right, brother. Take care.
Thank you, sir. There you go, Manny Navarro. Don't forget, you order over $99 at Caneswear.com. You will get free shipping. And they've got all kinds of great stuff and practically anything and everything with a Canes logo on it. Go to Caneswear.com or visit the store at 2511 South University Drive in Davie.